All right. Good day. It's another day for minor adjustments. 8 things you need to know in order to grow your business. Trying to fix everything right quick. How everybody doing? Man. Today we're going to talk about key number 3 is you must be willing to surrender. Before we do all that, let me grab something real quick. All right. How everybody doing? So let me go and share all this right quick and make sure everything's right. All right. Share this. Right. All right. We started in a few minutes. Soon we let some people log in and get everything situated. And then we can roll. Today we're going to talk about you must be willing to surrender. Again, my name is Michael Williams from the Minor Adjustments Program. Again, if you go to my website, minoradjustments.org, if you go to the seminar page, you can actually download a PDF copy of this book. This is one of the books I wrote called God Changed Your Name. So why are you living below who God made you? Again, a free PDF copy of this book. Just go to minoradjustments.org and go to the online seminar page, and you can get a free PDF copy of this book, and you can have that for free. Today, we're going to be talking about you must be willing to surrender. Let's see what else I need to go over before I get started. How everybody doing out there? Hopefully the sound is clear and everybody can hear me. If the sound is not clear, let me know and I can try to fix it. Hopefully, I don't know if I can fix it on live, but let me know if everything is good. There is a quote by Miles Monroe I want to read before I start anything. It says, "The secret to success in life is effective management of time." The secret of success in life is the effective management of time and change. The principal key to management of time and change is planning. And planning is the most important principle of success in life. Your dream is only a dream until you have a plan. And that came from Miles Monroe, one of my mentors. I never personally got to meet him, but I do follow a lot of his things that he had. So again, today, this is 8 things you need to know in order to grow your business. 8 things you need to know in order to grow your business. Week number 1, we did you must have an introduction. Key number 1 was you must have an introduction. Key number 2 is you must realize that your purpose is greater than your struggle. And now this week we'll be doing key number 3, which is you must be willing to surrender. You must be willing to surrender. Okay, what else I need to go through? That's go to this week or next Friday, Good Friday, I'll be speaking in Wilmington, Delaware. Just look on my page, there's a flyer on there. I'll be in Wilmington, Delaware, speaking at 7 o'clock, I believe, Friday night. we've been doing a lot of different things. My wife and I just had the opportunity to go to Cumberland Regional High School and speak to the kids about purpose. I'm always excited. That's my favorite subject to talk about, purpose, because I'm a purpose-driven individual. And this particular online course that I'm doing is called 8 Things You Need to Know in Order to Grow Your Business. How I came about doing it was, years ago, my wife and I and people from Glory Tabernacle Church, the church that I go to, went to spend some time with some people, and because we were trying to do something similar to what they were doing. So when we went to speak to them, we went with anticipation of getting some information in regards to that field that we were trying to branch off into. To my surprise, when we were at this particular meeting, the people who were already doing what we wanted to do told us all the things that they did that worked, that didn't work, who they trusted, who they used, who they didn't use, about all their business and of how their ministry was flowing. They told us all the things that they possibly could tell us in regards to that particular business or that particular ministry. And at the end of the meeting, I asked one of the people who were on that particular board, asked them why would they tell us all the things that they told us in regards to business or in regards to ministry. And they said this, and I never forgot it. They says, everything that stays with us will die, but everything that we pass along will live forever. So in saying all that, the Minor Adjustments business that we created, we have tried some things that didn't work. We tried some things that did work, but I'm going to give you 8 things that you need to know in order to grow your business. Why? Because whatever stays with my wife and myself will die, but whatever we pass on to others will live forever. So you got to always remember, whatever it is that you have, you want to pass on. So I came up with 8 things that you need to know in order to grow your business. And these are things that I personally use in regards to business, ministry, or relationships. And one of the things that you always must have is supportive people. Like Bill and Miss Bill and Miss Brenda Gould, they were very supportive, are still very supportive of us being able to go reach other people, and being as though we was able to reach some people that we couldn't get to or provide for them. We had people who was able to assist us in reaching those individuals. So again, today we're doing key number 3. First week we did key number 1. Key number 1 was you must have an introduction. Key number 2 was you must realize that your purpose is greater than your struggle. And today it's key number 3. You must be willing to surrender. But before we get to the keys, I have to give you the foundation that I use in regards to my business. Everybody's business or everybody's ministry, no matter what you do, must have a foundation. I have had individuals ask me, have I just been winging it? And I couldn't understand what were they talking about winging it. And they says, are you just doing things and seeing if they work? And I said, absolutely not. Everything I do has a strategy. No matter if I'm speaking in a school, I have a strategy. If I'm speaking in a church, I have a strategy. If I'm speaking in a facility that's incarcerated people who are in prison, I have a strategy. If I'm speaking at a drug facility, I have a strategy. I never, ever go into anything without a strategy. And I, myself, get my strategy from the Word of God. So I'm going to give you my foundation that I use in regards to business. And then I'm going to give you key number 3. You must be willing to surrender, which is one of the 8 things you need to know in order to grow your business. All right. How everybody sound? Can you let me know if y'all can hear me good? Because I can't tell if the sound is coming out right. But if the sound is okay, somebody please type it on the screen and say I'm okay. All right, let's see. All right. All right. Somebody let me know if my sound is clear, and then I'm going to roll from there. And then we'll go into the 8 things you need to know in order to grow your business. That's all I needed to say. Thanks, Corey. I got it. Sound good. I'm on. All right, the foundation. This is the foundation. Listen to me. This is the foundation that I use in regards to my business. I got the foundation from Genesis chapter 1, verse 38. And that scripture says, then God blessed them and said, be fruitful, multiply, fill the earth, subdue it, and take dominion. In Genesis 1:28, this is my foundation. Then it says, then God blessed them and said, be fruitful, multiply, fill the earth, subdue it, and take dominion. Watch this. The first brick, it says, be fruitful. To be fruitful means to produce something. Be fruitful. Produce something. If you go to a supermarket and you're not familiar with this particular supermarket and you're trying to locate the bananas, the apples, the oranges, the vegetables, or whatever, and you don't know where that's located, and you ask someone at this particular supermarket where your fruit located, they usually say it's over in the produce section. So to be fruitful simply means to produce something. When you're trying to grow your business or trying to establish a business, you first must produce something. Be fruitful, mean create something, come up with something, use your imagination for something. The Minor Adjustments program was something that I produced. I was fruitful. Be fruitful. That's the first brick to your foundation, and it's to be fruitful, meaning produce something. You ever hear the saying that says, give God something to work with? God has created you to be able to produce something. Be fruitful. He says, be fruitful. It simply means to produce something. That's the first brick to your foundation. Next is whatever you produce, he says, now multiply it. To multiply means to increase in number. Whatever it is that you produce, you now need to multiply it. Whatever it is that you produce, you now need to multiply it. To multiply simply means to increase in number. The first thing that I produced was the Minor Adjustments workbook. The first thing I produced was the Minor Adjustments workbook. After I created the Minor Adjustments workbook, I then created the Minor Adjustments business. After I created the Minor Adjustments business, I created the Minor Adjustments program. After I created the Minor Adjustments program, I created the Minor Adjustments online seminars. After I created the Minor Adjustments online seminars, I created the Minor Adjustments online facilitators course. After I created the Minor Adjustments online facilitators course, I created the Minor Adjustments sober living houses. Now, whatever you do, produce, you must multiply it, meaning increase it in number. Whatever it is that you produce, you have to multiply it. Keep increasing it in number. Don't think about finances when you're trying to increase in number, because you will always get people who are connected to you that can support you and help you in everything that you're trying to do. When you produce something, the next brick for your foundation is to multiply it, meaning increase it in number. The third brick, it says fill the earth. To fill means, this is a twofold part right here, means to put as much as possible into. To fill the earth means to put as much as possible into. This is a twofold thing right here. The first thing is to put as much as possible of what you produce into the earth. Watch this. Even if you have to give things away for free sometimes. Remember, you're trying to grow your business. So to fill means to put as much as possible into. Watch this. Whenever I'm speaking somewhere, I either give away books or I give away bracelets. I'm always giving away something. Am I doing that just to do it? No, I have a strategy. What's my strategy? To fill the earth. So no matter what I'm giving away, or no matter how many books I give away, or how many bracelets I give away, when they bracelets are going out somewhere around the world, someone will ask them, where you get that bracelet from? When they talk about the bracelet will always come back to the person who gave it to them. What am I doing? I'm trying to fill the earth with what it is that I produce. Whatever it is that you produce, you want to fill the earth with what you produce. Sometimes you will have to give. All the time you may not have to always give, but it's more blessed to give than receive. So when you're trying to fill the earth, you may have to give some of your things away, but don't panic. It's more blessed to give than receive. Watch this. I said this is a two-part thing. To fill also means to put as much of yourself into what you produce. If you produce a business, you have to remember you have to put as much as possible of yourself into what you produce. Fill the earth. You have to put as much time. No one is going to invest in your business more than you. If you're not willing to put as much time or yourself into your business, how are you going to expect other people to invest in something you produce? So you have to remember, to fill the earth means to put as much as possible into. Put as much as possible of your product or whatever you produce in the earth. And also it means to put as much of yourself into the thing you produce. Next, we have the next brick is, it says to subdue it. To subdue means to conquer. Listen to me, this is very important. Whatever it is that you produce, it will put you in a particular field. More than not, 99% of the times when you produce something, it will put you in a particular field, and you will be coming in that field as a novice. So whatever it is you produce, you have to remember that you have to subdue it. To subdue means to conquer. So when you're coming into anything, I don't care how spiritual or how deep people may act like they are, when you coming into something as a novice, you have some type of fear. It might not be a great deal of fear, but we always have some type of fear when we coming in something in a particular field where we are a novice. A novice, when we're coming in, for example, when I produced the minor adjustments program, the minor adjustments program by default put me in a particular field of reentry, rehabilitation, incarceration, and things of that nature. When it put me in that particular field, I came in the particular field as a novice. So I had to subdue or conquer that fear of coming in that particular field, not really having the educational background as other individuals, not really having the financial backing as other individuals, not having the facility to do my programming like other individuals. So when I came in that particular field, I had to subdue it, meaning conquer the fear of me being a novice in that field. Whatever it is you produce, more than not, it will put you in a particular field, a particular lane. And when you get in that lane and you're new in that lane, a novice, you're going to have some type of fear. But remember, you have to subdue it. And to subdue means to conquer. These are the 4 bricks of your foundation. I haven't even got to key number 3 yet. This is I'm just giving you the foundation of the minor adjustments program. This is the foundation that I stand on. Next, the last one is to take dominion. To take dominion is very important. The last brick to the foundation, it says to take dominion. To take dominion means the power or the right of controlling. What do I mean? The power or right of controlling means you take possession, you control, you dictate how you want your program or business to run. Most people get stuck in locking in on a certain amount of money for certain things, and then let other people tell them when they can do it, how much they can do it, who can do it with him. You have to remember, you have to take dominion. To take dominion means you have to control or govern how things will do. Sometimes doors will get shut on you because you have the control of what you produce. But that's okay, because if it's of God, nothing will be able to stop it. Whatever you produce, you govern, you control, you dictate what you would do, when you would do, how you would do it. This is something that you have produced. So you have to have a little bit confidence in this particular field. Remember, these are the 5 bricks that you lay for your foundation, and they come from Genesis chapter 1, verse 28, and it says, be fruitful. Then it says, multiply. Then it says, subdue it, fill the earth, subdue it, take dominion. To be fruitful means to produce something. To multiply means increase it in number. To fill the earth means to put as much as possible into. To subdue means to conquer. And to take dominion means the power or the right of controlling or governing. Now we're going to go into key number 3 of the 8 things you need to know in order to grow your business. Again, those things that I just went through are simply the foundation to the minor adjustments business. That's the foundation that I stand on. That's the foundation that I will never leave off of. That's the foundation. You must have a foundation. That's your foundation. Next, we're going to have key number 3 to the 8 things you need to know in order to grow your business. Now, you must be willing to surrender. You must be willing to surrender. When you're trying to grow your business, you must be willing to surrender. To surrender to what? To surrender to the fact that you might have to stop dealing with certain individuals. You might have to stop dealing with certain businesses. You might have to stop doing a lot of things different. But you have to surrender to the fact that things may not have worked before, but they may not work this time. But the problem they're not working for you in regards to business or ministry is because you haven't surrendered to the fact that maybe the people you are connected to are not really helping you, and they could be a weight. You have to surrender. Be willing to surrender. Watch this. The greatness of a man's power is in the measure of his surrender. That came from General William Booth, who is the foundation of the Salvation Army. He says, the greatness of a man's power is in the measure of his surrender. Whenever you are trying to grow your business or grow your ministry, you must be willing to surrender. A lot of times people try to hold on to people and never let them go, but you must be willing to surrender. When you're trying to grow your business, there are things you might have to get rid of. There are ways you might have to change, but in order for you to do that, you must be willing to surrender. If you're not willing to surrender, then it's going to be very hard for you to grow anything in your life. You must be willing to surrender. The greatness of a man's power is in the measure of his surrender. What William Booth is saying is, you want to know how great a man or a woman can be or how far they can go, you simply need to tell me, what are they willing to surrender? Because most people, when you're trying to grow something, they aren't willing to surrender something. One of the hindrances of a person trying to grow a business or grow a ministry is because they do not want to surrender some of the old things that they used to do. And a lot of times I talk to individuals and they make this statement: we always did it that way. And I said, and that's exactly why you're still in the same place, because you always did it that way. You must be willing to surrender when you are trying to grow your business, when you're trying to grow your ministry, or when you're trying to advance your marriage. You must be willing to surrender. Surrender what? Surrender things that have not worked this far. You started out when you were 25 and you're 35 now and you're still trying the same method. You must be willing to surrender. The greatness of a man's power is in the measure of his surrender. William Booth, the general, William Booth, of the founder of the Salvation Army, he says, you want to know how great or great a man or woman will become? Simply tell me what they are willing to surrender. What's the hardest area for you to surrender? When you are trying to grow your business or you're trying to grow anything, you have to find out what's the hardest area for you to surrender. When you find out what's the hardest area for you to surrender or give up or abandon or relinquish or, watch this, just let go, you can address it. What's the hardest area for you to surrender in your business or trying to grow your business or your ministry? What's the hardest area? Is it letting people go? Is it telling people no? What's the hardest area for you to surrender? When you're trying to grow your business, you must be willing to surrender. But you have to discover, or you have to admit, what's the hardest area for you to surrender. In this book called Necessary Endings by Dr. Henry Cloud, he made this statement: change must be structured for many reasons, but one is the way the brain works. Watch this. He says old patterns get reinforced unless a new discipline is introduced to override the old pattern. When you are trying to grow your business, you have to be able to surrender. Old patterns get reinforced unless a new discipline is introduced to override the old pattern. The man is simply saying you must be willing to surrender. But if you have an old pattern that you keep functioning off of, you have to introduce your brain to a new discipline to be able to override the old pattern. You must be willing to surrender. Key number 3, you must be willing to surrender. It says, without surrendering, changing, we become, watch this, predictable. When we aren't willing to surrender one way to another, we become predictable. Even our own children will predict what we will do. When we aren't willing to surrender, we become predictable. If you ever order something, watch this, on the computer, if you on a computer and you order something and you punch in your credit card information and you order whatever and you close it out after you purchase your order, if you come back to that same computer and start punching in your information, the number or the name and stuff will start to appear. That's called autofill. And what the computer is trying to do, or what the computer is doing, is trying to predict that you're going to use the same information that you used before. But that's called autofill. It's a feature on the computer that automatically fills certain boxes with the data based on the information the user has entered before. Autofill is using the information you used before. If you're trying to grow your business, you must be willing to surrender old ways of doing things into new ways of doing things, because if you don't, you're going to start being predictable. I remember we were somewhere out of town and I was with a few people who had went to the same church or go to the same church as me, Glory Tabernacle in Bridgeton. And they made a statement by looking at their clock. They looked at their watch and they looked what time it was, and it was on the weekend, and they said, about this time right now, they're doing this at our particular church. And I said, whoa, how can you predict what they're doing at this particular time? He said they always do it this time. They have become predictable. Whenever you become predictable when you're trying to grow your business or trying to grow your ministry, you must be willing to surrender to what? To change. If you don't surrender to change, you will be going in circle after circle after circle, and it will appear that you're actually going somewhere, but you're really not going anywhere. It's a circle. When you're trying to grow your business or ministry, you must be willing to surrender to change. or you'll be predictable, or you'll become predictable. And all the time that happens, no matter where I go, people become very, very predictable. You must be willing to surrender. When you become willing to surrender, that's when you will have change. What's up, Goody? Juliet? One of the key obstacles, watch this, I'm talking about 8 things you need to know in order to grow your business. And one of the key obstacles is to surrender it is pride. The good news is there's a known cure called humility. One of the key obstacles to surrendering is pride. But the good news is there's a known cure called humility. When you're trying to grow your business, your marriage, or relationships, or whatever it is, you must be willing to surrender one old way that has not been working to a new way. When you surrender, in order for you to surrender, you will have to become unpredictable. You can't let things to be predictable. When you're trying to grow your business, one of the main things that stop us from changing is pride. We are accustomed to doing things this way. We have been going down this path for so long, we don't want to change. If you want to grow, change has to happen. But you must be willing to surrender. Sometimes before you change, you need to put something in that place. Sometimes you need to replace something and put something in that place. When you're trying to grow your business, you must be willing to surrender. The greatness of a man's power or woman's power is in the measure of their surrender, not their money. In order to grow your business, you must be willing to surrender. What are you willing to surrender in order to grow to the next level? If you're trying to grow your ministry, what are you willing to surrender in order to grow your ministry? Remember, it's more blessed to give than receive. Most people keep going into with the mindset, what I can get from them. But you have to have a different mindset. What can I add to them? What can I give to them? In order for you to grow, you must be willing to surrender. You must be willing to surrender. What's up, Dane? After this, I'm gonna have some. If you have any questions, you can have any questions in regards to business. You can put them on the screen, and I'll try to answer them to the best of my abilities. Any questions about starting to write your book or anything like that? I'm only an expert in what I have already conquered or whatever I had already spent my time invested in. And my next book come out May 3rd, May 5th. It come out May 3rd, my birthday, but I will have them May 5th, called I'm a Giant Killer. And today I'm just going over the 8 things you need to know in order to grow your business. You can use these universally. And the first key was you must have an introduction. Key number 2 is you must realize that your purpose is greater than your struggle. And key number 3 is you must be willing to surrender. You must be willing to surrender. And the reason why you must be willing to surrender in regards to trying to grow something is because if you keep holding on to dead weight, it's simply going to pull you down. When you're trying to grow your business, I'm talking about growing, you must be willing to surrender. Most people hold on to stuff that they never use, and they still hold on to it for years after years and never wore it, and years after years after years. And why are you holding on to something you never wore? And matter of fact, if you went to go try to put it on today, you can't even fit it. I'm just saying, in order for you to grow in business, marriage, or relationships or ministry, you must be willing to surrender. What are you willing to surrender? Don't become predictable. When you become predictable, even everything around you start predicting what you will do. When you are trying to grow something, a business, a marriage, a relationship, whatever it is you're trying to grow, you must be willing to surrender. There are some things that just cannot go with you. There are some people who cannot go with you. Everybody is not going to go to the top with you, even if they started out with you at the bottom. Some people you will have to change. You will have to change. You will have to expose yourself. One of the things that I have learned is one of the most powerful things I have learned is when they have all these conferences about things that I want to do, I go to the conferences. Even if I'm not the particular speaker, if it's somebody else performing in that particular field that I want to be in, I go to conferences. Many as conferences as you want in your particular field, go to them as many times as possible. You must be willing to surrender. You must be willing to surrender. Today, we're just talking about you must be willing to surrender, which is key number 3 of the 8 things you need to know in order to grow your business. And next week, I will have key number 4. You have to always visualize vertically. I'm going to talk about visualizing, vision. I'm a man of vision. I always talk about vision. But today, if anybody got any more questions, don't forget next week, I'll tell you when I'll do the live, but next Friday we'll be in Wilmington, Delaware, and I'll be speaking at 7 o'clock. It's going to be an awesome time. If you're around Wilmington, Delaware, anywhere near there, come check us out. You can go to my page and see the flyer on the address and everything like that. But other than that, man, hopefully y'all have a blessed time. If anybody got any questions, you can always go to Slido.com using hashtag key number 3, Slido.com, SILDO.com, using hashtag key number 3. It's a poll on there. If you take the poll, you can answer some of the poll questions on there, and I'll get feedback from that. And today, that will be all we got today. So again, tune in next week for the 8 things you need to know in order to grow your business. Remember, the foundation that you must stand on is Genesis 1:28. It says, be fruitful, multiply, fill the earth, subdue it, and take dominion. To be fruitful means to produce something. To multiply means to increase it in number. To fill the earth means to put as much as possible into. To subdue means to conquer. And to take dominion means the right or power to control or govern. Be fruitful, multiply, fill the earth, subdue it, and take dominion. That is the foundation for the Minor Adjustments business. For 8 things you need to know in order to grow your business. Key number 1 is you must have an introduction. Key number 2 is you must realize that your purpose is greater than your struggle. And key number 3 is you must be willing to surrender. God bless y'all, and we'll see y'all next week for key number 4.